Good morning. Hello. It's nice to be here with you. Um, Always like to see names. If you would like to just say hi, it's always great to see who's here. Old friends, new friends. Um, I expected, and it seems that we're a small group this morning because, of course, there's the retreat with Joseph Goldstein happening. This is the final day, and so so a lot of people are there who normally are here. So for whatever reasons, you're not there, and you're here, and I'm glad to be with you. Um, so. I'd like to talk a little bit about hi Marilyn and Marcus and Tyler, Ismail from Val David. Welcome, beautiful to Val David, Val David. Um, so I'd like to reflect a little bit about even within these turbulent and challenging and sometimes heartbreaking times that we live in, that we can find joy, we can nourish it and be nourished by it, um, and and so I'd like to begin by reading a poem from this book that I've been dipping into from time to time. It's called The First Free Women, and it's new translations of poems by um, women who were practicing with the Buddha. So they were awakening and discovering practice. And so these poems are written in different stages um, of their journey. So some at the beginning, some after some realization, and some poems were written as awakening poems. So that's traditional. That in a moment of awakening, of a deep release and letting go, that that words in a very creative and profound way would come through and express some essence of that experience. So this poem is called Another Sama. So Sama is the name of the woman who is the author. It's fairly short, so I'm going to read it twice. After 25 years on the path, I'd experienced almost everything except peace. When I was young, my mother told me that I would find true happiness only in marriage. Remembering her words all those years later, something in me began to tremble. I gave myself to the trembling, and it showed me all the pain this little heart had ever known, and how countless lives of searching had brought me at last to the present moment, which I happily married. Can you imagine? We've been living together ever since, without a single argument. I'll read it again. After 25 years on the path, I'd experienced almost everything except peace. When I was young, my mother told me that I would find true happiness only in marriage. Remembering her words all those years later, something in me began to tremble. I gave myself to the trembling, and it showed me all the pain this little heart had ever known, and how countless lives of searching had brought me at last to the present moment, which I happily married. Can you imagine? We've been living together ever since, without a single argument. So I really love that that image of being happily married to the present moment, and that is that quality of joy that arises when we can meet this moment without resistance. So without any kind of a struggle, without grasping it, without tuning out from it, without pushing it away or trying to avoid it. So this just opening to what is. And what is may be pleasant or may be unpleasant. Simply being with an open heart. Accepting, allowing the unfolding of this moment. And so that's the essence of practice, really. I've been reading a wonderful book by an author, Ruth King, who she's a Black American woman who does training using tools from both inclusion and awareness training around race, and really based in mindfulness. And I really highly recommend the book. It's called Mindful of Race. I talked last week, if you were here, about this sense of urgency I felt to prepare myself, to educate myself, and with others to respond to this moment in our unfolding story as human beings. What's happening at this time with regard to anti-racism and awareness of the depth of racism in our society and the way it penetrates ourselves, whatever color we are, whatever ethnic background we are to some extent influenced by the messages of racism in our world. We absorb it. And so it's really our work to undo that, to undo racism within ourselves and in the world around us. But we can't overlook the element, the dimension of self-awareness and deconstruction within our own minds. And one of the things that Ruth King says in her book, Mindful of Race, is that life is not personal, permanent, or perfect. So in this summary sentence, she's summing up the teaching, the essential teaching on the three characteristics of what conditioned experience, that life, that everything that we can experience through the senses is changing, is impermanent. It's in process. So we can't hold on to it. Therefore it's unreliable. And it's also coming about through countless, uncalculable causes and conditions that are uh, giving rise to each moment. So she sums it up, quite beautifully in this simple sentence, which is so easy to remember, and which we can remember at any time. That so the first that I mentioned, the impermanence, you know, so impermanence, anicca in Pali. The second I mentioned, that it's that everything that we can experience is unreliable, it's unstable, it's unfulfilling, it's unsatisfying, it's dukkha. And so that's it's not permanent, that's and it's not um, uh, uh, it's not personal, it's not permanent, it's not perfect, so it's imperfect. um, and then the anatta, the non-self, that everything is coming about through countless causes and conditions that give rise to each moment. And so just as we can are the manifestation of many dependent, interdependent causes and conditions. So I'll say the sentence again if you want to use it as a little personal mantra, which I've begun doing from time to time. Life is not personal, permanent, or perfect. Life is not personal, permanent, or perfect. So when something happens and we feel somehow that this shouldn't be happening to me, why is this happening to me? And we do take things personally. We do somehow put the self in there with its preferences. And yes, that arises. So it's normal, it's natural. Preferences arise. But yeah, life is not personal. And so even though we have a quality of subjectivity with which we experience life, it's not about me. It's not about my idea of what my life is or should be. Life is not personal. It's not permanent. So, we are this, through the unfolding events of this year, we are learning such a profound teaching, such a profound lesson in impermanence, how things can just shift in such a widespread way and in such a profound way, so suddenly, so unpredictably. Although some people say that the different things that are unfolding and the different events that are playing out in various ways could be predicted. But, most of us are not in the business of making predictions. So it felt unpredictable to me. The pandemic, and then the rising up against racism that's happening around the world. So not personal, not permanent, not perfect. So that if we are looking to conditions, if we're leaning on conditions for our sense of well-being, our sense of stability, our inner peace, those conditions are not reliable. They can't be counted on. And so we will, it's like you're leaning on something and then it's suddenly removed, you find yourself kind of, with a bruised elbow or something, and have to pick ourselves up. So, yeah, we learn to be reliant on the inner life that is available to us, is always available to us under all circumstances. This inner life. And this is why I put the title on today's topic as Nourishing Joy, and why that poem that I read speaks so beautifully to it. So when we can meet this moment without resistance, without attachment to our preference, when we can meet this moment with an open heart, we're really meeting ourselves, because, of course, life is unfolding within our experience. So we're really meeting ourselves with an open heart. And through meeting ourselves with an open heart, we open up to all of the life around us. So the real tool, the skill that enables us to do that is our training in mindfulness. So mindfulness brings us, mindfulness is a way that we can open to this present moment. Joseph gave a beautiful teaching yesterday on what is mindfulness, and he named a number of different elements. So he said, usually people say, well, mindfulness is being in the present moment. And he said, that's part of it, but it's not all of it, because he said, if you've ever seen a dog, he often talks about black labs. He must have had a black lab in his life, but I think all dogs are like this. Dogs or other animals they are in the present moment, and they may be very happy, they may be very engaged, so when my dog Chloe is sensing movement in the forest and seeing a squirrel and kind of getting ready to run after that squirrel, don't worry, she never catches them. There's always a tree nearby. She's very much in the present moment, but is that a skillful quality of mind? No, she's into the hunter. She's a hunter. She's wanting to get that squirrel. I don't think she really knows what she's going to do with the squirrel, if she would ever catch one, but that's besides the point. She's in the present moment, but she's not mindful, but that's part of it. And Joseph said another aspect is this quality of observing, of awareness. So there's an awareness that of what we are sensing, what's coming in through the senses. And there is this also, this allowing, this openness. So some experiences are pleasant and some are unpleasant. And so there's an openness to the full range, the full spectrum of pleasant, neutral, and unpleasant experience that we can open up to. And that this awareness is not colored by greed, hatred, and delusion, by grasping, by aversion, pushing away, or by tuning out, spacing out, or imposing some kind of opinion or doctrine or idea on what we're experiencing. So those four elements are part of mindfulness. I hope his talk from yesterday, from Saturday, will be available on the True North Insight website, because it's a beautiful explication of mindfulness, and of course he went into much more depth than I just did. So mindfulness is our tool to be married happily to the present moment, to not argue with it, to accept it, open to it, to bring love and joy. And Bhikkhu Analayo speaks frequently that joy is alive in simply opening to each moment with this open heart, with this quality of allowing, accepting, non-resistance. So of course, I want to say, in case anybody's having the thought, well, does this mean that we're just passive? No. Mindfulness does not mean that we are just doormats or passive or non-responsive or just mute or just, kind of flowing down wherever the stream takes us. We are engaged. We can be engaged, and we can bring this skillfulness of knowing that things are how they are, but with a heart that is full of care and love. And an ethically informed heart that deeply wishes all beings to be well and not to cause harm. And so, with a heart that is so full, we can respond in a way that offers something which is good, which is wholesome, which can help to heal, which can help to mitigate and cease the harm. But it comes. This doesn't come from bringing an idea of how things need to be, and then saying, kind of struggling with the situation. Although we may have a vision, and that may be part of how we respond and move forward in the future. True North Insight is envisioning a future of inclusion and equity and deep diversity, deep openness and welcoming of diversity. So we're bringing a vision, and if you are interested, we sent it out to our mailing list. It's probably on the website, or it's going to be on the website. And these are our commitments. And it comes from a deep engagement with what is. And a deep engagement, first of all, within our own hearts. So let's begin with our mindfulness practice, which is our doorway, our gateway to wholesome change and development and evolution. So please take a posture which feels stable and balanced. Closing your eyes or letting your eyes be forward with the gaze soft, just downward with the gaze soft, and spine upright. And be aware of the body. Feel the body sitting. Feel the body sitting on the earth, Mother Earth. Feel the support. Relax into that support. At the same time, keeping that upright spine. And as we find our seat, let's bring an intention to this sitting. What is your intention? What motivates you to be here this morning? To gather with others to practice. And always including in your intention a dimension of for the benefit of all. It is to find liberation and freedom from suffering, and to find more sense of well-being. And this can be always dedicated to serve all beings, support all beings in their wish and search to become free. Feel the whole body, and within the body, being aware of the movement of the breath. bringing this quality of awareness, this mindfulness, to the whole body, filling the body with bright awareness. It doesn't need to be perfect, but just having a sense of presence. A sense of presence in the whole body. And the breath is there as part of that experience. You might experience it in the background, or in the periphery, or somehow just within the body. And noticing as you are mindfully present in the whole body, if there are places of contraction in the body, or if there are energies of anxiety or grief, and just give space to these arisings. Knowing they're not personal, perfect, or permanent. Just let them be as they are in this space of awareness, this space of mindful presence. As you rest in the body, invite the body to become more deeply calm and relaxed. Letting go of what the body is unconsciously holding. Habits of bracing ourselves, habits of clinging. All of these are held in the body. And as we deeply relax in the body, this can help us to at least temporarily let go of these habits and open to a greater freedom. And this can support our journey toward liberation from suffering in our Dharma practice. So deeply letting go in the body. As the body becomes more calm, those conditions can be conducive to the arising of joy. Just the joy of releasing, the holding, of becoming more fully present in the moment in an embodied way. When we tighten the body, we're in some way closing ourselves off. And as we deeply open in an embodied awareness, the heart opens to joy. So I'd like to spend a few minutes for the rest of the sitting cultivating this quality of joy in a guided meditation. And so notice if there is a subtle element of joy that is available to you just by this sense of opening to be mindful, as fully mindful as you can be in this present moment. A joy of feeling the aliveness in the body. What is it to be alive? In this moment, I am alive. In this moment, there is breath. In this moment, there is hearing. There is sensing. There's consciousness. How amazing. How precious. Not in a clinging way, but in a way of allowing wonder and joy. And we can also intentionally arouse joy by bringing to mind that love is very akin to joy. So often when we think of something that, or someone or a being that we love in a way that is not grasping. So an open-hearted quality of love which wishes well, which deeply appreciates the beauty of that being. So that appreciation is part of joy. And sometimes joy is called sympathetic joy, and sometimes it's called appreciative joy. So the appreciation of the beauty, and I'm not using beauty in a sense of conventionally beautiful, certain kinds of pleasing to the eyes. We can appreciate the beauty of a face that's lined with years of both joy and suffering, and the expressive quality of that face, not conventionally beautiful, but so human and so profound and so alive. And that can evoke love and joy to see the beauty, the beauty of the natural world. of flowers, of birds, watching the birds, enjoying my little bird bath that I set up on the back table of my porch, gives me joy. Seeing their enjoyment, simple enjoyment. So that joy, that appreciative joy, which we can connect with, in a way, let it go of the sense of the object that may evoke the joy. So we may bring to mind the object that evokes that quality of appreciation, beauty, joy, and then just connect with that feeling, that quality in the heart of joy. And let that feeling, it may be very subtle, it may come and go, however you connect with it is fine. And let it be like a little flame or a lantern, sensing its presence within your body, at the center of your heart, at your heart center. So a flame, a light, allowing it to fill your body, with a sense of joy. It may be a quality of lightness. It may be, you may experience ease, relief. However you experience that is okay. Don't worry about it being a certain way. And then that light extending beyond the body. And so as if you're drawing a curtain to allow the light to shine more fully in all directions. That light which is shining to the front, to the right, to the back, to the left, above and below, and within. Joy shining boundlessly, immeasurably, in all directions. So however you experience that, just being with that for a few minutes, allowing that light, that quality of joy, or maybe another word, happiness, gladness, appreciation, to radiate in all directions. these radiating, immeasurable qualities of the heart, the Brahma Viharas, can offer what the Buddha calls a temporary liberation of heart and mind. So we need to cut the root of delusion for our deeper transformative liberation. This experience of radiating in all directions liberates us from the delusion of self and extends love, compassion, joy, and equanimity in all directions to all beings. So may our practice in our lives support the happiness, well-being, and liberation of all beings. So we have a couple of minutes if anybody wants to share a comment or a question. These tools, these skills, so beautiful and so powerful of insight and love, kindness, benevolence, goodwill. They're so important. They're so healing. We are needing healing in so many ways, and of course, we are so aware of the need for healing, in terms of the health of our community, healing from disease, healing from injustice, healing from centuries of racism, exclusion, and so these are deeply healing in so many ways. So they are available to us, and they, what a beautiful gift we have from the lineage of Buddhism, the lineage going down for 2,600 years at least, and these healing. I also draw from the Bon tradition, which it actually predates the historical Buddha, and then was deeply transformed by the Buddha's teachings as they came into Tibet, and melded with the Bon teachings. So these teachings, some lineages say that there have been many Buddhas, and these, but the richness of the teachings that arise from the historical Buddha are just so wonderful. More than enough there for us for a lifetime. So please nourish yourselves. Nourish yourselves with joy. Nourish yourselves with goodwill, and with compassion, and with equanimity, and with insight. I'm so happy to have shared this time with you. So happy and grateful to have shared this practice with you. Please continue to support True North Insight, a small, dedicated organization of people who are very committed to keeping the Dharma engaged, alive, and relevant to each one of us in our beings as individuals and as beings embedded within a society and culture. So, I wish you well and hope to see you again next week at the same time. Thank you so much.